आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं वातरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः बुकारो अन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्या आचार्याय नचिकेतसे नमः. So we are in the third section of the first chapter of Kaṭha Upaniṣad, and we are looking into the seventh shloka. We already saw the seventh verse, what Lord Death told to Nachiketas, the secrets which are very essential for a spiritual seeker to know. Lord Death is giving in a simple manner to understand what is spirituality, how should a person pursue spirituality, what are the essential disciplines to be cultivated in one's life to follow the spirituality, and how much helpful these prerequisites in the person's life as well as spiritual, so too in the material life also. The more disciplined person will not fall in different types of difficulties in this empirical world. The more disciplined person can easily reach the ultimate goal, what we call the total freedom, the eternal freedom. Living in this world itself, while living itself, he is all-pervasive, he is completely reached the freedom, the ultimate freedom. Lord Death says to Nachiketas with a popular example, and also he is revealing slowly in a systematical way so that anybody can easily understand what is really spirituality. It is not a preaching, going to a temple or going to a church or going to a mosque and you study something from a person and you always repeat in your house, and you will avoid all bad spirits and you will always attract good spirits. That's not spirituality. Spirituality means a person's disciplined life, and this disciplined life will take the person to the ultimate goal. In order to cultivate the disciplines, we are going to analyze in the way of teaching how one can get rid of the habitual errors. Some errors which are our habits, how we can come out of that. And also, at the same time, how we can cultivate the new disciplines, what we call prerequisites in the spiritual path. These are all going to be discussed by the Lord Death in the coming verses. We will go along with the teaching of Lord Death, what he given to Nachiketas. I will read the previous class verse, that is the seventh verse, and I will give the meaning for the connection, and we will go to the new verse. Okay. So I will read the previous verse, what we saw in the last class. Yastu avijnanavan bhavati amanaskaha sata ashuchihi nasat tat padam apnoti samsaram athigachyati. Once more I will read. Yastu avijnanavan bhavati amanaskaha sata ashuchihi nasatat padamapnodi samsaram athigachyati. We already saw from the instruction of Lord Death that when a person lives according to the natural instinct and being successful in his material world, it means that it is called a samsari purusha, a person who don't know about the real goal and what is the means to reach the real goal. Nothing, he don't have any idea. But he is having the capacity to live in this empirical world, how to deal with the people, how to do a business, how to conduct a family life, how to keep the relationship alive. All these ideas he may be having due to his natural instinct, due to his empirical experiences. All these things will be only useful as long as you are living in this world with a body. After leaving the body, there is a life again. All the things you acquired in this birth will not be there in the next birth. In the next birth, again, you have to put effort for the things to be comfortable in your material life. So, this revolution, this circle will continue from one birth to another birth. Again, from that, after giving up that body, again, he will pick up or she will pick up a new body. This is called samsara. When we live according to our natural instinct, we will be a prey in this circle of samsara. Giving up one body, picking up another body, again giving up that body and picking up another body, he goes through this circle. This is called samsara. When the person is not informed about the goal, about the disciplines, and what he has to give up, what he or she has to take into in order to reach the goal. When these things are not informed, he is called avijnanavan purushaha, because the bondage in this world is created due to ignorance. Ignorance is the root cause for our bondage. What is meant by here bondage? I am a body is a bondage. I have wife and children. This is also a bondage born out of ignorance. I am a social being. I am this much height. My skin is this color. My behavior is like this. I have few drawbacks. I have few faculties and I have some features which others don't have. All these notions are called bondage born out of ignorance. When we don't know the real nature about oneself, we take ourselves something other than what it is really. When I am already a eternal conscious being and never subject to death or birth, but I am not informed that I am a conscious being. I am in the form of consciousness, but I am not informed. From several births, I am continuing to take this body and giving up the body, and again taking the body and giving up the body. I am continuing all my circle of death and births in this samsara. I am not informed by anybody about my real nature. When I am not informed about the real nature, I take something other than what it is, because it is just like, when a kid is taken to a movie, kid is not aware of a white screen, kid is not aware of a projector, kid is not aware of this, the drama behind a cinema or a movie. Only the kid enjoy for 2 hours what is there in front of her. We know that it's all unreal. It's all fake. There is only a white screen and it's very big in a theater. And there is a projector. In the projector, something is already shoot and kept in a digital manner. And it is being projected technically to this white screen. And we see that something going on in the form of a story. Any movie is a projection which has already shooted. This cinema, for us, we know the reality. There is a screen in front of us. On that big white screen, we see some horses, some elephants, some people, some aeroplane, some vehicles, sometimes mountains, sometimes rivers, some animals, some birds, lots and lots of things, as though it is real. But we, the mature person, or who understand what is behind a cinema, he knows that there is only a white screen there. And the projector projects certain things which are already digitally inserted in that projector. Only white screen is the reality. All other things appears in this white screen are just fake. But for a kid who is not informed what is behind the scene, what is behind a cinema, what is there as a projector, nothing the children knows. He just knows it's a Donald Duck or a Mickey Mouse or a Mr. Bean or a Charlie Chaplin, whatever it may be. They just enjoy what is right in front of them, taking as it is true. When everything is known at a certain age, we don't much attached towards the thing what is shown in the movie. We know that what is behind the movies. We will not get attached towards that, like a kid get attached towards the movie, because we know that it's all in a white screen and it's all projected. Nothing happened. There is no death, real death in a movie. There is no real accident in a movie. There is no real kidnapping in a movie. There is no real tournament in a movie. Movie is just a fake story which is already created and completely taken by the camera, and it is been digitally inserted again and it is recreated in a screen. That's all. When we know the reality, we don't get affected by the movies. When I am a kid and I don't know what is behind and everything, we get affected. When I saw something which is making me fear, I will cry, or I will be afraid of seeing that, because I think the movie is real. Some ghost is there, some other things are coming, which is very much fearful for me to see when I'm a kid. Once I come to know the reality, the bondage of the movie is not there at all. There is no effects in me. There is a movie cannot create any kind of effect in me. As long as I don't know the reality, a movie can create lot of effects and changes and differences in me. Similarly, when I don't know about myself, really who am I? What is my intrinsic nature? I just take this body is real. These members around me is real. The things which are around me are real. All this makes certain impressions in my life. By enjoying and experiencing certain things in this world, I also take some impressions in my mind, and I continue with these impressions birth after birth. These impressions also one main factor in deciding which birth I am going to take after leaving this body. So impressions, in Sanskrit it is called vasanas. The impressions which are already kept in my mind, like a carbon copies are kept in a file, those impressions which I enjoyed in this life as an enjoyer, it may be something good, it may be something bad, it may be which I don't like, it may be which I like very much. All these experiences created an impression, and all these impressions are being kept in my mind. This is also one main factor in deciding which birth I am going to get. One thing. All these impressions are there as long as when I don't know my real nature. Once I come to know my real nature, these impressions doesn't have a chance to survive in my mind. Why? Just a kid become an adult and he comes to know all the things behind a movie, then a movie cannot give any kind of impact in that adult, because adult came to know what are the secrets behind a movie. There is no real death, there is no real birth, there is no real mountain in front of me, there is no Jurassic Park in front of me, there is nothing like fear factors which are right now I am seeing in front of me. These are all fake. Similarly, when a person come to know out of his maturity and by the traditional teachers teaching, when he come to know his intrinsic nature, when at that time, even though he doesn't give up the body, he is endowed with a body, but a liberated personality, a person who came to know the reality about oneself, can go through different types of experiences which are related to body, but that impressions will not create any impact in his life. He has already liberated. Just like, in the dark room, as long as I don't know this is a rope, I just mistaken as a snake. And once a person informed me there is nothing like snake in this room, dark room, it just a rope just laying on the ground. You stepped on the rope and you mistaken as a snake. When a person informed about the real nature of the thing which I have stepped on, then I don't have any fear at all. From the moment I got the information about the reality. Similarly, about me, if a traditional teacher systematically dip, eh, part with me the teachings, from that moment onwards, I play the same role of the husband. I play the same role of the boyfriend. I play the same role of a wife. I play the same role of a daughter. Everything is okay. But I know that it's all unreal. As long as the body continues, I can play any role, but I am not this body. That reality I understood from the traditional teacher. I am continuing to be a body for the people and the others in this world. Really, I am not a body at all. I am the consciousness which is all pervasive. That is my real nature. In the all pervasive consciousness, lot of bodies are there. Among them, I am also a body. I cannot mistake myself as a human body. Because of the traditional teachers' information, I came to know my real nature, and I am just playing the role of a body for the others. I came to know the reality, but others don't know what is the reality behind everybody. But I should not make them any confusion. I have to play my role without making any confusion for the other family members and society. I do the same thing after getting the moksha, the liberation. I am freed at the moment when I listen. I am not this body. I am just playing a role of a human body. But avijnanavan, which we saw in the last week, a person who doesn't have the real information about oneself, and he is amanaskaha. Amanaskaha means a mind which is not connected with the traditional teachings, a mind which is not having any kind of spiritual disciplines, a mind which is not interested in the goal, or to reach the goal there is a means and he is not interested on the means. This is called amanaskaha. The faculty of the mind is amazing. It can go thinking what is beyond the mind mostly, but the people don't think what is beyond the mind. They just think about the thing what is in front of me. Very big tragedy. Really speaking, a mind can think what is behind the mind, how a mind is born, how the thoughts are being coming out, and where they are getting resolved. Really, a mind can think if it is informed by a traditional teacher in a systematic way, what we call transcendental meditation. It's only a technical term, okay? You transgress every material things which you have experienced in your human life, and you understand something beyond all the senses, by which each and every senses are working in its own area. Similarly, the mind have that capacity to look behind, but the thing actually happens is the mind is always outside looking towards something. In order to get happiness, in order to gain some security, the mind will be always going here and there. This is called amanaskaha, not knowing what is to be done and doing what is not to be done. When these things are there, it's called amanaskaha. Without having a controlled mind, really speaking, there is no imposing of control in the mind, because mind doesn't have any accelerator or clutch or brake or etc to control. Only we can enlighten the mind, giving the correct ideas and giving the correct information. A mind will not go behind the wrong things. This is called controlling of the mind. It's not that controlling of the mind is a big work. No, you just inform the mind what are the right things and what are the wrong things, and take away the pressure to do the wrong things, and make the mind or put effort to do the right things. Then this is called controlling the mind. Nothing more than that. You teachers emphasize only control your mind, control your mind. What is control? You cannot control the mind. There is no brake, there is no accelerator, there is nothing to control the mind. If I tell you, don't think about a monkey, the first thought will come the monkey only. What control you are going to have with your mind? For example, I am saying, don't think about a crocodile now. When you close the eyes, the first thing will coming, the first thought will be about a crocodile. He told me not to think about a crocodile. There is no control of on the mind. Really speaking, when the some teachers emphasize control your mind means, really I want to say you there is no control of the mind. You can inform your mind. What is the information to be given? These are the things to be done in your life. These are the things not to be done in your life. And put effort to come out of the pressure from the unwanted activities, and putting effort to do the right things. When we are ready to do these things, this is called the controlling of the mind. Nothing more than that. Simply understand what is the control of the mind. Understand. We don't have the pressure to do what is not to be done. Here, we are talking about an ignorant who don't know what is the goal and what are the means for the goal. Then he may involve in unwanted activities, and he's called amanaskaha, a person whose mind is not disciplined at all. And sada ashuchihi, ashuchi, purity is called the shuchitvam, purification, purity is called shuchitvam in Sanskrit. Any impurity means a secondary thing come to your life is called impurity. Oh, there is something in my body, then it's a impurity. When we get connected with the secondary thing, When we have an attachment with a secondary thing, when our mind is searching for some other things in the world, this is being told in the form of impurity, sada ashujihi. Any secondary things other than the real nature, when we think in our mind, is called impurity. So, a person, when he is not informed about the goal and the means, this person will be always thinking about a secondary thing. Any thought regarding a secondary thing, whether it is money, whether it is our husband, whether it is our children, whether it is my car, this is being told as ashuchihi, because already you have a glorious thing to think about your own nature, the intrinsic nature of each and every human body or any creation or anything in the world. Giving up thinking about this glorious thing without thinking the glorious thing what I am already having, I think about the things which are having temporary existence in the world. A temporary thing can only give you temporary happiness. And somebody will say, I am happy with the temporary happiness. Still, you want happiness, you are going to another thing for happiness. Here, when you know the reality about your nature, the happiness will be continuing without earning anything from outside. You don't need anything from outside in order to be happy. We are all habituated by getting a secondary thing in our life and we become happy. That is called material happiness. Here, the real spiritual science, Vedanta says, the Upanishad says that owing nothing, without having nothing, you are completely happy with yourself when you come to know the real nature. As long as we don't know the real nature, we will be behind the secondary things in order to be happy or in order to be secure. This is being meant by the word impurity, because giving up the glorious thing which is already existing behind the mind, you only need a small effort in order to know what is behind the mind. Giving up this glorious thing, and we are going behind petty things, which is filled with the sorrows, which is filled with the pain, which is filled with the time consuming. Anything to enjoy in this world, you need to put effort, you need to consume the time, you should have a conditional body. For example, in order to eat a good ice cream, you should not be diabetic. In order to enjoy something crispy, salted snacks, you should not have a BP. Anything need a conditional body. All these things are being emphasized through the impurity. That means our mind goes behind the secondary thing, and this is called impurity. Always thinking about the secondary thing without thinking about himself, which is the glorious thing, which is all pervasive, which is right behind the mind. When I say what is behind the mind means just to think from where the thought emerges. Each and every thought, from where it is emerging. Where is the origination of each and every thought? If you come to know, that is the culmination of running behind the secondary things in this world. But most of the people goes behind the secondary things without thinking about oneself. After knowing the real nature, this body should go through certain experiences of secondary thing, but we will not get attached towards that, because we already came to know what is the real thing, what is the real source of happiness. After knowing, you may be enjoying the secondary thing, still you will not be taken away by the secondary thing. But here, a person who is ignorant will be always not having the discipline in the mind, and always sada ashuchihi, always impure with oneself. And what this person, we already discussed about this verse in the last class. Still, I want to give more clarification regarding this verse. Nasa tat padam apnodi. He don't reach the real destination. Padam, goal, destination, where a human being should really reach while living itself. A person really, what should he know in his life? That is being told in the name of Padam, status. You know, we need to take our superimposition by knowing the locus of superimposition. By knowing the locus, we reach the destination. When we don't know the locus of the superimposition of human body, then we are not going to reach our final destination. We never get freedom. We never get ultimate happiness. We never get a calm and peaceful life. We will be always struggling in this empirical world. So, through na sat tat padam apnodi, that destination, that goal, tat padam na, never he attains if he doesn't have the information about the goal and the means. If he say is is a undisciplined mind, or a person who is always thinking about the secondary thing, is not going to reach, because there is no information from a traditional teacher for him. There is no spiritual journey for him, so that what he will be always behind the secondary thing. Experience after experience, he will be going behind everything, and creating lot of impression. And again, he want to enjoy, so that he will take an appropriate birth in after giving up this body, and he will go again and so there is no freedom from the body, there is no freedom from struggle, there is no freedom from sorrow, there is no freedom from pain. He will be always having a limited body and a lot of pain and suffering due to the ignorance. Ignorance can only be eliminated by the knowledge which you can receive from a traditional teacher, which we are going to see in the next sloka. We will finish this. So he will not reach the goal. And also what happens to him or her who is an ignorant? Samsaram adhigachyati. I already mentioned you in a shorter way in the last class. Samsaram means the circle of death and birth. There are 84 lakhs of living beings in this world. Almost 44 lakhs of living beings are being counted by the science. Still 40 lakhs of life forms are not being discovered by our science. Anyway, our scriptures explains there are 84 lakhs of living beings, and one will go after giving up this body to another body. A butcher, a slaughter, always used to slaughter animals and they distribute this piece of meat to people. Butcher is doing an action. At the same time, those who are his customers also doing an action by receiving the proper meat from him. It can be ham, it can be beef, it can be chicken, it can be fish, anything. I'm just giving an example which is not unfit, but most of the people should know. Now, what happened to this butcher when he leave this body? Really, he will have a travel through the bodies which he have slaughtered in his life. Suppose if he has slaughtered a bull, he should also have a birth of a bull, and he should also suffer the same pain what he has done when he was a human being. Because karma will give the appropriate result. We can't miss the laws of karma. If you have given pain in this world, you will always have the pain receiving to you. As you sow, so you reap. So the slaughter have killed a lot of animals and given a lot of pain for animals. So he has gone through different animal bodies, which are the animals he has slaughtered. All these animals also may take human birth. And the people who have meat eaten, because of them only he slaughtered animals. It is not that he slaughtered, that is why we eat meat. No. You are a customer, you like meat. In order to give you, he slaughtered an animal. So everybody will have that prarabdha. Prarabdha means an action which has already started and it is continuing, and that will bring a certain results in the life. And according to that result, one will go through sufferings. Most of the religion says that there is no there is no birth after death. According to the scriptures of India, we believe in death and birth cycle, and we have proof also, facts also. How a daughter of an engineer become a violinist at the very young age? She has studied the violin in the previous birth. So he born in a doctor's family, but at the age of 5 itself, she can hold a violin and she can slowly make it in a proper way, and he can enjoy the music. She can enjoy, and also others also can enjoy. Why? How? She already gone through lot of studies of violin. That is why after that birth also, he or she born in a doctor's family, not with the information of the anatomy, but the information of a violin. It shows that there is a previous birth connected to violin for her, and it continues in this birth. So there are proofs like this. Anyway, we will keep aside. So after the death, there is a birth. After again death, there is a birth. This circle is called samsaram. According to one's own actions, one will get the results. If you invest the pain towards others, you will get the interest and the amount of pain to you. So do good things for others and reap good things from this world. It may not be coming from the same person who received the noble action from you. It may come from different sides in this world. Don't expect the same person will do a help for you. No. Somehow you will get the help in the right time because you have given some help for others. This is the laws of karma. And this ignorant person who is just behind enjoying the senses and the object, and he may go through the different death and birth. This is a truth from direct advice from the Lord Death. Samsaram adhigachyati. A person after departing from the body, he will receive another body according to the actions what he has done in the previous births. Samsaram adhigachyati. He go on and gone through different bodies. This is called samsaram, and it's a proper advice of Lord Death to Nachiketas according to his question. The people who are ignorant will go through the Janana Marana circle, death and birth cycle. This is called samsaram adhigachyati. Now I will come to the new sloga and give a brief explanation, and we will conclude the class, and I will explain you in the next class. Eighth sloga, eighth verse. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati samanaskaha sada shuchihi satu tatpadamapnodi yasmad bhuyo na jayate. What a beautiful way. Again I will read and I will give. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati samanaskaha sada shuchihi Satu tatpadamapnodi yasmad bhuyo na jayate. But opposite of the previous verse, if a person come to know the reality behind his nature of human body, if a person comes to know the intrinsic nature after listening from the traditional teacher's advice. So when I say if or suppose, there are chances not to listen, there are chances to listen. Even though we take a human body, still we can miss the obvious. That is why in our English language, we use suppose when there are two options, when the two chances are there. Suppose if it rains, I have umbrella. Means the rain can come, rain may not come. Here also too, the word says if. If a person comes to know the real nature, if a person comes to know the real nature about oneself, then he got the proper instruction from the traditional teacher, what Lord Death given to Nachiketas through this Kaṭha Upaniṣad. If a person vijnanavan bhavati, he is clear about the goal and he is clear about the means, then samanaskaha, his mind can think what is behind the mind. This mind is not running behind the objects outside. Samanaskaha. And Sada Shuji is ever pure because there is no second thing to make him impure in his mind. He's always thinking about the consciousness which is behind the mind. Sada Shujihi. Satu, of course, this person who is very much different from the previous verse, Tat Padam Apnodi. He will attain the destination. Yasmad, after reaching there, after knowing. Whenever I say reaching means you should know knowing. In a superimposition, to take away the fear of a snake, we need to know this is not a snake, this is a rock. This is the only thing to know. So, when I say that effort is not in a form of an action, it's in the form of understanding. In a superimposition, you should have the discrimination, what is superimposed and what is the base for the superimposition. Once you come to know both, then the fear is taken away, the insecurity is being taken away, the peace is restored, the calmness is restored, everything will be falling into place properly. Up in a superimposition, we need to know what is the real thing behind the superimposition. Similarly, Vijnanavan came to know what is his real nature of the body. He didn't do other than listening to the traditional teacher's advice, because already the consciousness is there, but we superimposed as a body. After knowing the real nature about oneself, what he will have the result? Yasmad, because knowing the real nature about oneself, Bhuyona Jayade, again, he will not take a birth in this world. Very beautiful. The result is also given by Lord Death. Once you come to know about your real nature, which is not subject to any death and birth, your body, which is superimposed, is subject to death and birth. Once you come to know you are not the body, but you are the consciousness, after receiving this knowledge, there is no death and birth circle for that individual, because there is no individuality or a human body. Even though it appears as a human body for the others, he is not at all a human being. He is a all-pervasive consciousness. He restored his knowledge. He was being informed that you are not a body, but you are a consciousness which is eternal, which is pure, which is all-pervasive. After knowing the locus of the superimposition of the human body, he will be never subject to any death and birth. I will explain more about this verse in the coming class. Now we will continue. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shupamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Kshoparahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् सतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमतः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम. Happy to